This is This Week in Perspective with me, Adam Simbe. The ruling party CCM has decided on major reforms in many years, which will affect its structure and human capital and many other aspects of the party. To discuss these very important reforms with me today are, on my right, Dr. Azaveru Waitama, formerly of University of Dar es Salaam, but now with Josia Kibira University College, Tumaini University, Mount Meru, but he's based in Bukoba.
Yeah, but actually now also working with Karumuko, which is Cardinal Rugambwa Memorial University College, which
so
is
you
a branch of
St.
St. Augustine.
Yeah. Excellent. I didn't know that. That's good information. And my next is, I'll call him Mheshimiwa now, Humphrey Polepole.
Ndugu.
Humphrey Polepole.
I hope you remain in Ndugu.
I found a member of this program many years ago, a regular participant, but he's the new Secretary of Ideology and Publicity of CCM as a result of the reforms we are going to discuss. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, sir.
Next is Professor Maxim Muya, another veteran of this program of University of Dar es Salaam, Political Science Department. Next is Wilson Mukama, a former permanent secretary, former Secretary General of the CCM, and a regular participant of this program. But these two were comrades at the famous Kivukoni College.
So you make us proud.
So, gentlemen, welcome to the program, especially for you, Humphrey Polepole. We congratulate you for your new appointment. So let us do justice for the next 55 minutes to try and explain to the viewers the importance of these reforms and where the party goes after this. And of course, they will become more effective when they are endorsed by the party Congress in February next year. So welcome again.
Thank you.
I will start with the very first question. CCM is reforming itself. Will these reforms or changes strengthen or weaken it? Why reforms now? And where or are the reforms inevitable? Were they inevitable? Obviously, the ball falls on you first, Mr. Secretary, to try and answer that question, and then the rest will also come in and try and answer it.
Thank you very much, sir. I think these are not even the reforms. This is a transformative process that the party has embarked on. And the essence of these transformations are informed by the views of majority of Tanzanians, of whom for a very long time, directly they've been members of Chama cha Mapinduzi, or people who are, goodwill people who love CCM and who likes what CCM stands for. Next year, CCM would turn 40, and 40 is a very significant number. The Israelites, the 40th year, they arrived in Canaan. So probably here in Tanzania, 40 also resembles the same, that we would like to transform CCM, to get it back to track,
Yes.
to be a party that stands for the founding ideals of CCM. In 1977, a revolutionary act happened when the two parties, TANU and ASP, dissolved themselves to form Chama cha Mapinduzi, a party that was to stand for the poor majority of Tanzania, the party that was to advocate for rights of our people, the party that is meant, and to the present, to be close to those who are not powerful, to be the voice of the powerless.
Oh, the voiceless.
Or the voiceless. So this year, and coincidentally that we also have a new fifth phase government under Dr. John Pombe Magufuli, who is also a new chairperson for the party. So we've had a self-reflection of CCM and our 4 decades down the line, and the journey that we've come it has come to our very serious conscience that we need to get CCM back to track to its founding ideals, that the totality of it is our ideology, that all human beings are equal, that dignity is one of our belief, that socialism and self-reliance, ujamaa na kujitegemea, is an instrument that ensures that we have a society that is based on, equity, equality, and freedom.
And fairness.
And fairness. We want to see CCM live by the fundamentals that, we were made from as a party.
Yeah.
The fight against corruption. Not as a talk show, but in the real sense. You've seen also the direction of the fifth phase government to seriously address and fight corruption in the government. And we want to see Chama cha Mapinduzi also reflect the very same good intention that the Tanzanians want to see in the government, echoed by the party, having the fact that it is this party now that oversees the work of the government. We need to be a party that is a leader in Tanzania in terms of championing good governance, ethics and accountability, and particularly to our leaders who would remain always as symbols, a reflection of good leaders and leadership. So this transformative process in CCM is critical at this point in time, and we are looking at one, getting CCM back to its roots, getting CCM closer to the people. We want CCM to be owned by individual members and the bigger society of Tanzanians. We want CCM to transform itself in its systems, how we relate to each other as leaders, how do we make our decisions, how do we arrive to our decisions. Are they based on credit, performance, credibility, or are they based on what you have as an individual person? So we want to say your credentials, your credibility is what should determine whether you qualify to be a leader in CCM. So systems, so reform and transform systems. Number two, the administration in general. We want to have a party that has an administration that responds to the present demands of our members and the society at large. We want to have a party of which the decision we make are informed by research, are informed by facts. So we want to have a party that is whose decisions are evidence-based. And thirdly, is reform and transformation of the entire concept of leadership. We want to have leaders in CCM being not just leaders who lead, but servant leaders. Leaders who are humbled. Leaders that are there to serve people and not their own interests.
And not to be served.
And to be served. We want to see CCM that, as I've said earlier, owned by the people and not a group of few individuals who want to take advantage of CCM for their own interest. Right. Leaders that would come from CCM would come because they qualify and they have what it takes to serve Tanzanians.
Okay. Transformation, transformative steps. That's very interesting. Professor, I see your hand is right there. You are attentively listening to the Secretary for Ideology and Publicity of CCM, explaining what I started saying reforms, but he says yes, but actually it is transformative actions being taken. What is your take on this?
Thanks very much. Well, the very fact of the first statement you made, a transformative process.
Yes.
That raises a lot of hell when you want to undergo such significant change.
Yes.
Even worse, in my view, are the theories of development, which I consider to be very, very important in the transformation at the moment. Do we have a shared mind within the organization, the CCM, or for that matter, any other political party that wants to make a transformation? Do we have a shared conceptual scheme and construction of what wants to be on the ground? Quite a number of us, all of us I would imagine, have gone through the path of the party in office. And observations from what we went through then, and even without talking about specifically with the party in office, but the battlegrounds when you want to undergo a change, then the first difficult process is, do we have a common and shared mind on the need for change and towards which direction?
Taking into account that change is always resisted.
Definitely.
By itself, change is resisted. And now if you have a number of people with all the best intentions, I would imagine, but then they justifiably have competing views on issues. And that's why elsewhere, where such changes have taken place, there's been a background construction of the party or whatever institution, that they have a goal, a shared goal to go through and make a change on it. As far as I am concerned, and all of us, I guess, in part, having part in the CCM, and not wrongly so, people get divided. What is it that is going to unify all these people and come up with change itself? I don't know what it will mean.
A common understanding.
A common understanding that is even difficult. A common understanding, because here we have how many types of shirts we are wearing, and what about the mind?
Yes.
That's even very, very complicated. So I am not giving up that the change cannot be arrived yet. All that I am concerned with, do we have a shared mind?
But do you think in the process changes in the party were inevitable? Because the CCM of 1977 and several years now to be 40 down the road is not the CCM that, of course, of today, because of the dynamics in the political minefield. I wouldn't call minefield, but in the political arena.
I mean, that is quite meaningful to reflect on things that are intended to be arrived at.
Yes.
That way. I am only saying that the CCM or any other political party for that matter, they must go to some place where they want to sit down and discuss things first. Otherwise, this is not possible. There are indices which one takes into consideration when they want to come into change. That, well, let us meet there. We have shared mind. We are against this particular problem, colonialism. And so everybody sings that song. And it's defined, and then they can go and hide somewhere there and then discuss how they are going to act on the scale of colonialism. This one is an election result, and there we will meet. And all of you, I am told you are CCM. I was just wondering where you can get to this meeting and easily come up with some change process when you have tall people, short people like myself,
Yes.
and competing ideas and so forth and so on. So I think the CCM will have to reflect seriously on what they want to do and with whom.
All right.
Yeah.
You were an inside party. Please bear with me. You come. Yeah, you come next. Let me ask.
Have some comfort.
My old colleague and founder of this program disappeared from the screen with many questions asked. Where is that old man?
He's in Bukoba.
Yes, CCM, dead CCM.
No, now actually he's a living Chadema member. So he stopped being a defunct, CCM member. So there's no problem there. But of course, he's as difficult as he was in the past. And I don't think that the Chadema leaders are necessarily close to him to that much. Because this is an independent mind.
Okay.
My take is this, this, what you are calling a reform, I'm not too sure, it is a reform. And I'm not even, I'm even more uncertain that it is a transformative act, because this reducing the size is something that is addressing a change which was occasioned only 5 years ago. I mean, at the last Congress in 2012, yes, the then chairman argued that, and I think those of us who were analyzing, that in order to increase the influence of ordinary members on the party, on decisions of the party organs at the top, yes, it is better to expand it.
At the grassroots level?
No, in order to recruit. Yes. The aim was to recruit members of decision-making organs at the top,
yes,
NEC, okay, the National Executive, yes, to recruit them now from the district level, rather than as in the case of all the years from the region. NEC members were recruited from the region in terms of regional chairpersons, and they were recruited from the region in terms of regional NEC members. You were elected by the Congress to come to the meeting as representing the region, not representing the district. Yeah. So by now increasing the representation of the district, you increase the number, obviously, because there are many districts. Yes. But what this new chairperson seems to have done is to request NEC, and NEC seems to have agreed, endorsed the idea, and is going to ask the Congress maybe to change the constitution, to reverse that earlier decision which was tested for only 5 years. It looks like maybe, I don't know, because I'm not privy to what went on behind the scenes, I'm not privy. But logically, as a philosopher, I'm still baffled, how can you, the argument was 5 years ago that you want to increase the extent to which ordinary members have influence on the decisions of the higher organs of the party, the NEC, mm-hmm, and the Central Committee. So you now want to recruit membership from the regional level, from the district level, as well as the regional level. Now you are removing the district level. Now, I don't think you can still argue that the aim is to increase influence of the membership. I don't think you can argue. But you can argue quite correctly, yes, that you are going to reduce the extent to which you spend too much money on this meeting.
Yes.
That you can argue, in terms of cost, efficiency, yes, etc.
Dr. Loitam,
yes,
if you had read well the pronouncements of the decisions, did you come across anywhere where it said the process they're going to use now to still have representation from the grassroots? And where will these few members of NEC?
But if you reduce the numbers, whichever formula you use, yes, you will have fewer representation from the grassroots. If you are going to be forced to have to take at least one member each from every region.
Yes.
Okay. You are at least going to be forced to have to take at least the chairpersons of regions. You can't have a system where the chairpersons of regions are not invited to NEC. That would be very, very, very innovative. But I don't think that is going to happen.
Okay.
But all I'm saying, yes, is that on the other hand, be careful, because even in the days of Mwalimu, the numbers of NEC were few. So the issue is not size. Okay. The issue is what kind of class. I don't know whether class is still used these days. Okay, what sort of social income bracket are you going to draw these people who are going to? There are few, but where are you going to draw them from? Okay, because I would have thought the people who were thinking, these people in 2012, these same party people, who were thinking, maybe they thought the regional leadership seems to have gravitated further and further away from being close to the population. And if I look at the membership today, the regional leaders today, some of them own big bus companies, some of them own big, oil companies. I'm not going to mention names, but I'm sure Humphrey knows all these people. One of them actually competed to be a regional chair with the former vice chair, who is now the vice chair, and beat him. You know, but this guy is very rich, you know. So I'm saying, okay, my argument is that you put the question quite rightly, you know, that would these reforms, whatever I call them, you know, Humphrey says these are transformative acts, you know, you say are reforms, whatever they are, the size itself is not going to matter, whether if you are going to have the party go back to its members, okay? It is going to be from what social class are these going to be drawn? Are you going, if these are accompanied, if these changes are accompanied by reintroducing also the 1967 Arusha Declaration leadership code, which said you should not be a member of a, you should not own a property which you use to exploit others. You know, yeah, of course you don't call it exploit, you say employ others. I mean, you know, you should not have housing which is used for rent. You should not have shares in. Now that seems to me, this Congress which is going to meet in February is going to do something which is remarkable, you know, because these people who are at the regional level, they are going to commit suicide. You know? Because if they are going to pass them, it means they are going to lose. Okay? But if on the other end, nobody is going to ask them to adhere to any leadership code, which means the same regional leadership, which was seen previously not to be too close, is not they are going to endorse it. You know, they're going to, those who are at the district level, they are the ones who are going to murmur, but because the president is popular, I mean, at least among the rank and file.
The chairman.
The chairman is popular among the rank and file. He can actually, I don't see any resistance to, you know, these proposals. I mean, if he puts his stamp on it. So, but what I'm arguing,
yes,
because your question was, is this going to strengthen the party? I'm going to say it is going to strengthen the party to the extent to which the party is the leader.
Okay.
You know, but if the party is
with these reforms,
but if the party is all the structures of it, then I suspect it might actually be a precursor to a lot of turmoil within the party. Okay, which is not necessarily a bad thing, you know. I mean, you know, it can actually give the chair of the party reason to say, you know, like what Nyerere did, you know. I mean, you know, when he introduced the Azimio la Arusha, you know, I mean, when a lot of people remember when Azimio la Arusha was introduced, a lot of people fell out, you know. I mean, you know, because I mean, you know, they endorsed something, but the consequences of what they had endorsed, you know, they didn't take, you know, so they left.
Okay, Dr. Waitama, you unfortunately didn't answer my question. One other aspect of my question, in your view, whatever is happened, or whatever is going to happen when the Congress meets in February, were inevitable in this present day politics? That's what I wanted to hear.
I think it was inevitable. First of all, if I look at how the current chair came to be the chair, there was a lot of dissension, a lot of fallout of that group of people who in 2005, you know, presided over the coming into being of the fourth phase government. And the subsequent chair of CCM during just fourth phase, okay? That group, which was called Mtandao, it was not an hidden factor, okay? At some point, towards 2015, my brother here was the Secretary General then, there was an attempt at rectification, what the communist friends will call rectification, or renewal, you know, or kuvua gamba, you know, and then it failed, okay? So maybe this is another attempt, because the leader of that group who was told to resign but refused, but later his name was cut, okay? I suspect these reforms, because even when these reforms of 2012 were instituted, they were meant to reduce the influence of that particular person. They look like they didn't.
All right.
So this person now saying, okay, we increased the cost for nothing. Right. Why don't we actually reduce the cost, okay? And then maybe, my suspicion is, if this change is going to be sustainable and is going to really bring fundamental change, it will have to be accompanied by adoption of the leadership code of ethics. Absolutely. So that, you know, these people who are from the regions, okay, are really representative of people. It doesn't matter about the size, you know, because even previously there were few, but they were people like, you know, the great people we know of the neck of the past, you know, who are not, you know, bus owners or, you know, property owners. I mean, you know, the Kahayas of Arusha, you know.
That's
I mean,
what
so,
he
you know,
said.
yeah.
One of those aspects is to go back to roots, to old roots.
He's saying that, but we don't know that is necessarily going to happen.
But he, as secretary of the
Okay.
okay,
I mean, but
he could be
but
right.
the change in
Ideology
number
of
by itself, what I'm saying, if he's going to commit to us now,
Number.
that, you know, that what is coming, the numbers are not important, actually. They are not fundamental.
I'm sure we'll
you know,
agree with
the
you.
important thing is whether there is going to be adoption of the leadership code of ethics that Arusha Declaration put forward.
Excellent, Arusha Declaration. Now, comrade, I call you comrade Wilson Mukama. You were Secretary General of the party during the period Dr. Loitama was referring to. But you heard the secretary, the new secretary, explain why these changes, and he called them transformative processes, are important. Then you heard, of course, from old philosopher,
Whether the numbers
the
matter or
numbers
they
don't
don't
matter
matter.
or they don't matter, and whether in 2012 you had agreed to increase the number so that you get better representation at the grassroots level, but reducing them now, you're actually reducing representation from certain level of the party. What do you say to this?
Well, I've been listening very carefully, and I would like to begin by saying thanks. But I think the key issues in what really happened on the 13th of December.
This year?
Yeah.
No.
That the current chair has been in place only for 3 months. But he has managed to accomplish in 3 months what took us 10 years to achieve.
When you say
The current
what
chair.
it took us, by us you mean?
Yeah, I mean, what took the party? That is the problem of having been.
Okay.
What took the party 10 years to achieve, he has managed to achieve it in 3 months. He was elected to the chair in August.
Yes.
September, October, November is 3 months. Then just 2 weeks ago, he has accomplished what took so long to achieve. He has been at the helm. When you address the issues of downsizing, the complementarity of downsizing is always right sizing. To downsize, they've downsized the National Executive Committee
And the Central Committee.
and the Central Committee from 388 to
158.
to 158 and from 34.
To 24.
25.
Yeah, the quantitative aspect has a direct bearing to the efficiency and the effectiveness of any organ. You cannot ignore that.
Yeah.
But whether it is right sizing, whether it's the right decision, and whether it was done at the right time, and whether it was done by the right people. The taste for that one, which I say it was done at the right time, the right place, by the right people, and hence it was the right decision. By the way, the resolution itself was adopted. It was adopted unanimously.
Indeed.
It was not a majoritarian. You know, you've been to the ILO.
Yes.
Yeah, unanimous decisions are normally referred to the language of the United Nations, nemine contra dissent, without any
Dissent.
dissent, without any opposition, no. Because normally the resolutions you could either be a majority decision, or you could have a concurrent decision. Somebody supports you, but for a different reason. Or you could have a dissenting opinion. I happened to serve on a certain committee with Professor Muya, and there was the majority opinion. And we were on the dissenting opinion. But this one, you know, what really struck me, I'm a member of the National Executive Committee. Even the very same members, the 288 who have been hived off, they didn't raise any objection. So that shows the efficacy. That there is some level of understanding, you know. Perhaps if you look at it as by using the analogy of a military outfit, you know, military operations normally have a front and a rear, and you have the flanks. If you want to have an effective military operation, and the political parties are instruments for political combat, so you need a party whose decisions, the Scala chain, you know, when decisions are made at the top,
Down.
they go down. And also you have similar, the way you get views from below, from the bottom,
Yes.
they go up with the minimum. So the vertical reforms which have been done now, whether they are, you know, getting some complementarity horizontally, you know. By the way, the way I see it, I was trying to put this thing to a taste in terms of whether, according to your question, whether the reforms or changes were they inevitable. If you use the time management quadrant, you know, of the urgent and not urgent, or important and not important, to me, I think, of course, within the party elections, it's only next year, but with the focus to the 2020, the reforms have been done they are important reforms. The decision was very, very important. Not necessarily very urgent now, but when you use the time management concept, that if you spend 75% of your time in not urgent and not important, then it's a waste of resources.
Okay.
Normally, there are normally 4 boxes.
Yeah, okay.
Not urgent, not urgent, important, not important. So you find some people who spend most of their time in not urgent and equally not important. These reforms, this decision was not necessarily very urgent when it comes to
Time
2020, to the time frame, but it is an important decision.
Okay. Thank
It's
you
an
very much.
important
Thank you
decision.
very much, Mr. Mukama.
So, structure, I would
Yes.
like to comment on structure.
Yes.
You know, structure, I think there are no scientists here. The structure is always very, very important. It's the first law of biology, you know. Even the way the morphology of your body parts, they reflect the function. Normally, the function determines the structure. The physiological division of level of your body parts has a direct correlation with the morphological. That's why your arm folds front, it does not fold the other way, backwards. Otherwise, you'll be disabled.
Yes. In relation to the party
In
decisions?
relation, that's why these organs now. He's arguing that, okay, you have the original decision, I happened to have been around. You had an NEC which was 388 people. But now you're going to have a National Executive Committee of 158. You have a Central Committee of 24 people.
24.
Previously it was 34. Yeah, when you look at it in terms of numbers, whether it broadens inclusiveness, perhaps, but in terms of effectiveness and efficiency, in efficiency in terms of cost, it was too costly.
To have all those 388.
Yes, most of them were just idling. When it comes to effectiveness, it's easier, you know.
To manage.
When you have a small team, it's like a snake, you know. I go back to the metaphor of the snake. Yeah, the metamorphosis of the snake. You know, the Chinese were saying, you know, they have snakes which they sting as well as they bite. Some of our snakes don't. They just bite.
They don't sting.
They don't sting. But CCM, normally, the way we were looking at it, you know, if you mishandle it, it can bite you by its head, and if you step at the middle of it, you know, you step on it wrongly, it stings you by its tail. And it's like a military outfit. The front should always, when you change the areas of combat, from the front you go to the rear, normally the rear should also equally acquire the front. And the front becomes the rear. But you have the flanks, the left flank and the right flank.
Yeah.
current decisions within 3 months of Magufuli leadership. I think he's been able to create a Magufuli philia rather than a phobia.
All right. Okay. Now,
It looks like he is accepting my conclusion.
yes.
That these
In a more philosophical way.
these changes
Yes.
they strengthen the party. If you interpret it as the party chairperson, not the party as an institution.
No, but
Because what you are saying is that in the 3 months, you're quite correct,
yes.
the party as the party chairperson within the last 3 months has achieved what the party as an institution is failed to do in the last 10 years.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
which is correct, which is what I was saying.
I
Secondly,
don't think it is correct, sir.
No, well, I'm saying for me, that is
Finish and
fine.
then Professor Kamini.
Yeah.
This is not correct. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I'm also saying
One
the
minute.
agency now, the agency.
Of the
You
decision.
actually hinted on the agents of doing these changes now.
Yes.
Because you wanted unanimity now before you introduce something which is contentious. Agreeing on numbers is non-contentious. That's why it is unanimous. But if you were to introduce, let's introduce leadership code. That one will not be non-contentious.
All right. Professor, you said it's not
Yeah,
correct.
it isn't, because from other angles, it is quite obvious that those who have filled up in the party, they came from different angles and intentions. Okay, and within this time frame, what we have witnessed, and I guess all of us know, that there are institutions and structures that were emerged during the time which are not partisan. They're different. And so when the power now comes into one unifying factor, the party, which party? And you know that there are quite a number of parties now. And we have seen during the elections how competing candidates and individuals and from different angles have punched out around themselves in order to get a position. Now, the CCM probably would like to maintain the CCM-ness, which I don't see coming into. And we know the actors in the state nowadays that they come from different angles. And so when it comes to forging links together within the CCM, it's quite difficult.
All right. Okay.
In a battle situation, I mean, this is obvious. That's why there are rules of,
Engagement.
yes.
Now, let me see. Let's hear from Mheshimiwa Humphrey Polepole. He was listening to all your arguments and taking notes. And let's see how you react to some of the statements here.
First of all, I would like to say thank you to all the members for very informative contributions, particularly from Mzee Mkama, a comrade, very senior one, and my longtime friend, Dr. Lwetama and Professor. It is quite a mix of inputs, and I have taken that honorably, and I will take them into account when we are even perfecting our transformative process. So one, let me assure you how CCM makes decisions. In CCM, as opposed to the government, democracy of how we make decisions, I think it is one of the best than any other political party. The president is the chairperson of the national executive, and also in the last national executive committee meeting, and in the current spirit that we are moving with in the fifth phase government. We don't bully each other there. We discuss, we argue, people bring in mixed reactions and opinions, and eventually, to arrive to a decision, we would vote. So even if a single person would have a particular direction that wants to steer all of us to, that particular direction would have to be accepted unanimously by the party or by the majority or the minority. This decision, and how I find it very unique, is normally you have the tyranny of the majority, of whom a decision would favor the majority and we would consider the inputs of the minority. In this case, the majority favored the minority. And so the majority decided to sign themselves off, irrespective of how conventional wisdom would direct you to. This is revolutionary. When a National Executive Committee votes on a decision to take away 2/3 almost of the members, over 2/3 of the members, to say, you guys, this is the end of the story. And listen, being a NEC member is a privilege.
A powerful privilege.
A very powerful privilege. So when you see these guys, and let me give you a taste of a short history, and this is where you would understand that CCM members mean when we talk about this transformative process that we are embarking on. Last year, hardly a year and and 1 month, it was the same National Executive Committee that did very strange things and showed a great manifestation of disrespect and discipline of that particular meeting and the leadership of the party. So you would imagine resistance should have been so high, because the person that came to become now our chairperson was actually at that time not as popular as people looked at him then. Today, the same members who seemed at that particular time to oppose the changes that we, whether it is by force or by voluntarily, are the same people today who said enough is enough. The people out there have spoken. CCM is not what it was meant when we established it. It should come to an end with a new beginning of new CCM that supports the whole picture of new Tanzania.
All right.
Over 2/3 of us are going out. Then one thing. Professor has raised an issue whether there is a conceptual, scheme of that drives or informs whatever that is happening. There is a small book here.
I know it.
A retired Secretary General would speak highly of this one. Wonderful stuff were put into this book. And the beauty and the difference of CCM as compared it with other parties. CCM has richness of knowledge. There's been several documents like this that were produced with all honor to transform, but we lacked the strength in the political will to get these changes and these transformations done. 1987, the program of action for 15 years, if you read it today, and this is where we're actually going back, what the president is doing was actually...
Maybe you refer to what the chairman is doing.
No, sorry.
In this context.
No problem.
And on a serious note.
He hasn't finished though.
Let him finish.
Yes,
On a serious note, I happened to have chaired the committee which drafted the
Okay, so
go ahead.
Go.
We are privileged and honored that our chairperson is the president. So
Yes.
it's one thing in two. So our chairperson is actually not alone in this one. The rank and file members support highly the transformative process of CCM. Because a while ago, CCM, I would say, went astray kind of, to the extent that our nature was nearly changing from what we were supposed to be. So, addressing now professors, issue whether we have that. So this is one of them. It is all there, and I've said it. The transformative process that we have embarked on,
Which you
looks at,
which you had doubt about.
yes,
right?
has a system issue, a system issue, like how CCM functions, how we communicate, how we make decisions,
How you manage.
how we manage the party. It is one of the biggest organizations in Africa. Systems, administration, looking at who is who and is doing what in terms of leaders and technocrats in the party. And lastly, and most important one, leadership. How do we transform leadership from being a person that administers and manages and still calls themselves leaders to a person that serves people?
How about how you get them to leadership?
Yeah, then this is where now we come to the nurturing process, developing our leaders and things of the like. All that is in here. Last, do we have a shared mind? I will tell you. And having a very simple sample from the National Executive Committee, that particular decision should tell you something serious in the party is about or is already happening. And lastly, I would say CCM 2017. From 2011 to 2015, CCM was busy focusing on internal and national level elections and nothing else that was done in the best interest of the party, members, and Tanzanians at large. A party that is, on the leadership side. 2012, party elections. 2013, associations. 2014, local government. 2015, general election. So we were busy, entangled into those things. As part of the transformative process, everything in terms of elections would be done in 1 year in this new dispensation. So CCM would now have time to sit into very effective and efficient meetings of decision, Central Committee, National Executive, have a one-to-one personalized discussions and put substantive issues on the table. When your 388 is a public rally, 1977, we used to have a national executive of 160 members. We have overpassed that criteria. We are at 158. That we are doing better than 1977 when this party was founded. 24, that's our cabinet in the party. This is the top level organ that makes and oversees policies. 24, on one side you have the chairperson, and by virtue of their positions, the vice president, the prime minister, the vice president of Zanzibar, the secretary general. And us 10 people here, or 9, you have fruitful deliberations there. You have critical analysis and indulgence into the kind of matters that we'll be debating over there. And then minimize not just the numbers, but the frequency of meetings to provide space for follow-up and monitoring. So National Executive, from meeting every 4th month to every 6 months, so that when we make a decision, we give space for monitoring, follow-up, and eventually evaluation before we make another decision. In the party, what we are doing now is communication. That is also my role. That guys, listen, this process that we have embarked on is actually getting rank and file members closer to national level leaders so that we really understand their issues. And the rank and file issues are actually issues of the people.
Yeah. Okay.
So that
is the process to get these ideas from the rank and file up to the level of the Central Committee and NEC clear enough?
Oh, yeah, it's all over here. We are going to, CCM has a hierarchy, about 6-level hierarchy. You have Shina,
Part cell.
Okay.
the part cell, and then you would go to.
Sorry to interrupt. I was just wondering about this document because this is 2011.
It's an-
this
it's
is the
an-
one which influenced the bringing in the district level I mean, who are now being removed.
No. Dr.
Well, should have influenced
Dr.
that.
Letama,
No?
You ask me, I am the spokesperson. It's an internal document. I'm telling you. This,
Because I read a part there about Muundo
That was very quick. You were perusing, but you are giving it. Okay, gentlemen. I mean, time seems to my director's warning
but
me. You have
lastly
5
is
minutes. Yeah.
some of the levels we are considering, and we are in deep thinking that some of the levels are redundant and are only putting space between leaders, national level leaders, and the rank and file members. So we are thinking of revisiting, and that would come, and we bring them closer.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Pole. I mean, I didn't know time will go that fast. I mean, I'm left with the 5 minutes, but yes, I'm on the 5 minutes. So I'll start here and then go this way, and we'll end up with you
Yeah,
again.
sure.
Very quickly. Do you expect the party will face challenges as it modernizes and reforms before and after they are endorsed by the party Congress next year, next February? And how do you look at the party then?
If
after
I
these
look at the
reforms? Very
political,
quickly.
if I look at the political situation
Yes,
in the
very
country,
good, yes.
resistance is unlikely when what is being asked is tinkering with numbers.
All right. So that's the challenge.
But if there was going to be some attempt to change the political leadership requirements for leadership, then I suspect there will be some murmurings.
All right, thank you. Very quickly, 1 second only. What
Yeah,
do
yeah,
you think? You think the party?
Yes, no, I would like to revisit and re-emphasize that the kind of structural changes which are taking place within CCM
Yes.
are supposed to serve a very specific strategical dimension. You know?
Okay. Is there a challenge, please?
I don't think that of course, challenges from other political parties, definitely.
That's okay. Thank
but
you.
within the unanimous adoption itself.
Yes. All right. Thank you very much, Professor.
Well, what I wanted to say, and in relation to what is just put here, is that maybe the CCM, together with all the abilities that they have, they must also recognize that there are competing possibilities out there. Okay, and so maintenance of discipline, if you want to put it that way, discipline and adherence to rules and so forth, are no longer there. I'll go to another party, I'll go to another company, I'll go to another region, and it is much better there. And so the system, what mechanisms is it trying to build for itself in order to make sure that a defection doesn't become the rule of the game as time goes by?
Excellent. Last, very quickly.
The 8
Do you anticipate challenges?
the 8 million people, members of CCM, are approving the transformative process we are in now.
Yes.
So whoever that is against it is actually should have other self-interests that are not in the best interest of our people. So if they would move voluntarily, we would actually congratulate them and remain with our party that is based on principles.
Excellent. My panelists, I must apologize. It was such an interesting and heated discussion to the extent that I didn't realize time was going so fast. There were a couple of questions which I was going to ask, but they've all been answered. Whether this is reformative, transformative processes will take the party back to its roots, where it was started as a party of the peasants and workers. I hope that will be the process. Well, thank you very much for enlightening the viewers out there. I hope they will get to understand why there are these what we call changes, what I call reforms. You say no, but you say also no, but these are transformative processes. Thank you very much, my panelists. I'm sure we'll have some more time next time. Viewers, you heard the views of my panelists here. They are very, very powerful. They've really educated you and me on the CCM party and its desire to have transformative processes to ensure that it is strengthened, although my friend here was saying it might also weaken. And when you look in terms of the numbers reduced from 384 for NEC to 158, similarly to Central Committee. However, these transformative processes will have to be endorsed by the Party Congress in February next year. And there was no indication from the party ideology and public secretary that they anticipate any decision, and therefore they will have to be incorporated into the party constitution. Addressing members of the NEC earlier, before the NEC endorsed the proposals, the president or the chairman of the CCM, Mr. Magufuli, urged members to endorse the reforms for the sake of the future of the party, and said the party had to be a members' party, and he emphasized by Mr. Polepole here. These reforms, which I call reforms, but they are called the transformative processes, have been welcomed by a good cross-section of the veteran party leaders, members, and ordinary Tanzanians. And others have said reforms were inevitable. We commend the party and its top organs and the experts, advisors, the Central Committee and National Executive Committee for coming up with these major reforms or transformative processes 1 year after the general elections in 2015. Are there lessons to be learned from the reforms by other political parties? Time will tell, but Professor says for the challenge for CCM is that they should recognize there are other players outside the CCM, which I suppose meant there are other political parties, and any dissatisfaction within the CCM, people say there's life outside the CCM. I'm sure that will be taken into account as you refine the transformative processes. This is all we have for you viewers today. Until next Sunday at 21 hours and on Thursday at 15 hours for the repeat program. On behalf of my panel, Professor Muya, Wilson Mukama, Dr. Zavelu Waitama, Mheshimiwa Humphrey Polepole, and my TBC Television Center crew. Thank you, viewers, and goodbye.